Okay, so when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back into the Zoom screen. Okay. So those people who have been working with me for some years will know that very often people who stay in contact with me will suddenly, for no obvious reason, have some kind of shaking. And this is an energetic phenomena which just suddenly happens, not for any particular reason. And I've been calling this a glimpse of truth, or glimpse of your essence, or a glimpse of your true nature. So this has actually been going on already for about 20 years around me. And in the years since we've had the community, there's been some particularly strong examples. Most of you who are on the screen tonight are familiar with that. And it was always some sort of slightly, and something was a bit unclear because I called it a glimpse. And there was always a question of what exactly does it mean when I would say glimpse? And this manuscript that I've been working on is actually all about this glimpse. So the particular Indian word is sparana, which has been translated as scintillation or pulsation. Scintillation or pulsation. And of course, that's a much more exciting description than a glimpse. So if you take these three words, scintillation, pulsation, and glimpse, I think together they give quite a good idea of what happens. So for some reason, the mind becomes much quieter than it normally is. And therefore the sense of a personal me becomes much less strong. And it's the way I describe it is it's like looking up in the sky, and the sky is a nice day, and there's some blue sky, and there's also many clouds in the sky. And this pulsation, we can say, is a moment when the clouds part. And just for a moment, the sun shines through. So this would be a sense of scintillation, you could say scintillation, because if you've had this kind of experience, you will know that it's very magnificent. It's almost impossible to describe it to somebody who never experienced it, especially somebody who's in the regular society. Probably you can't even try to explain it because they will experience it as something rather strange. But actually, what really is strange is the way that humanity has developed a kind of theater. You can call it like a theater script. And everybody has their own personal theater script. And of course, they don't walk around carrying a script with them, but internally, they have memorized their lines. They've memorized the expressions. They know what kind of costume to wear. And people call this me, 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 me. This is me. And me is this kind of theater script, which we can also call personality, something like a personality, or perhaps we can just call it a person. So probably everybody on this screen tonight, excuse me, is basically living as a me. And unfortunately, this is a completely false notion, completely false. garbage, rubbish. And most of us live our whole life in this theater script. We learn it when we're very small. Our loving parents teach us this script, and the society around us teaches us this script. We even go to school for many years to learn the script off by heart and to learn the behavior that goes with the script. And this is the life of the society, well-organized and well-controlled life of the society on this planet Earth. But if something happens and you get a glimpse, or you get a scintillation, or you get a pulsation, then what actually is happening is that all that false theater script is simply falling away for a moment. And probably most people who have this experience, it only lasts for a short moment. Maybe it only lasts for 30 seconds, or maybe a few minutes, possibly a few hours, occasionally a few days. And most people report, and it's also my own experience, that the first time this happens, it's amazingly powerful. It can be so powerful that your body stops functioning. You can't move your arms, you can't walk, or you can walk only with difficulty. But suddenly this energetic phenomena is so powerful that it kind of knocks out the normal physical functioning. However, inside, at the same moment as outside, there may be a lack of physical functioning. On the inside, there is the most beautiful moment that you have ever experienced in your whole life. It's like a peak. It's like a peak experience. But in one way, it's not an experience, because what happens is that you are meeting your true nature. So this is not really an experience. You could say that the theater script, what we believe ourselves to be, me, this is an experience. And in this short moment when we experience soprana, which is pulsation, in that moment, we are really living our truth. We're living our natural essence. And this natural essence is the essence of every human being. It's the same essence. Whether you've got a beard, whether you're a woman, same essence, same essence. So this is something truly amazing and probably not very well understood. And I thought tonight I would particularly focus on this sparana, because after 6 months working on this manuscript, the essence of the whole manuscript is to understand that this sparana is giving you a taste or a glimpse, of who you really are. What is your reality as a human being? What is your reality? And of course, this is very different from what you're told is your reality, or what you've learned is your reality. So if you've ever been to the theater, as probably everybody has, or you've ever been to a movie, as everybody has, you watch television, as everybody has, you see on these, in these theaters, you see a kind of acting out, you can say, acting out. And, usually the acting out in the theater or in films or on television is a bit exaggerated, So everybody, there's the mummy and there's the daddy and there's the kid and the school teacher and the doctor and the dentist. They're all playing their roles and it's all a bit exaggerated. And we call that a drama, when it's exaggerated. But in the daily life, it's not really much different. Not really much different. And we can easily live our whole life being one actor in this theater production, which is the production of the whole planet. Because whether you're a Frenchman or a Chinese man or a Japanese woman or whoever you are. You can also be Ukrainian, sitting in the basement while the Russians are bombing you. Whatever is happening, in essence, we're all the same. We're all one. It's all one. So if we want to experience that, if we want to embrace that in our life, then it's actually very simple, because in order to live moment by moment, day by day in this essence, you just need to throw away your script, okay? Throw it away. Throw your script away, okay? Never to be picked up again. See, it's that simple. There's no need to read spiritual books. There's a need to have a teacher, because unfortunately, as you all know on this screen tonight, you throw your script away, but unfortunately next morning you pick it up again. So you need a teacher who reminds you every day, reminds you to keep it thrown away in the garbage. You see? So this is the main job of a teacher, that he has to keep reminding you not to pick up your script again. But this is a very tough battle for any teacher, because we're very attached to our script. This sense of me is something that we completely believe, and we're not ready to let it go. You know, when the teacher comes, tries to grab your script, you know, he's trying to pull away your script, and all the time you're, no, this is me, you know, this is me. You're not going to take me. You can't take me away. And it feels a lot like death, actually. It feels a lot like death. It feels like the teacher wants to kill you. And that's right, he wants to kill you, but not who you really, not who you really are. Of course, he doesn't want to kill that part. He wants to kill the false part. So I've been living in a community of sincere people for something like 18 years now. We have, luckily, a very big place, a big mansion we can run around together. So we're like kids in the playground with the teacher. And for 18 years, I've been trying to pull away the people's scripts, and with not much success. Occasionally, I can pull it away, or it drops away by itself for a few seconds, a few moments, a few hours, a few days, but it always comes back, always comes back. So why does it come back? Habit, only habit, you see. In India, they call it vasana. It means tendency of the mind, or structure of the mind. So this structure of the mind, or tendency of the mind, this is our theater script, you see. We have all kind of popular scripts, which we keep repeating and repeating. And while we're repeating it, it keeps us with enormous clouds, enormous personal clouds. And these personal clouds are blocking the possibility of reaching our natural state, our essence. So the work, the true spiritual work, is to let go of this personal. And as I say, this is not so easy. It's very simple, but not easy. In fact, I would say it's very difficult, because we're so much attached to this personal. Because anyway, we've been taught over many years that this personal is who we are. So we're very attached, of course, to who we think we are. But when you have had a pulsation, even if it only lasted for a very short time, everything changes. Everything changes. For example, I can't help noticing the man at the top of the screen in a black t-shirt with short hair. I call him Shiva, and he calls himself Dima. He's from Ukraine. And he met me a few years ago, and I tricked him into becoming my student. I tricked him. I invited him to one of my retreats for free because I knew he had a big problem about money. So I invited him for free as the translator. But anyway, I already had one translator, so I didn't really need another translator. But this was my trick, because I could recognize in this man some kind of potential, you see. Intelligent, very intelligent guy. And anyway, out of this retreat, he got a bit involved. And then magically, in one of the retreats, I don't know if it was that first one, I don't really remember. But anyway, he had a sparana. He suddenly, everything went crazy. And he was so touched, he couldn't function. He was lying on the ground, and people were offering him a cushion, offering some water. And he told us later how wonderful he felt. He became very open, his heart opened. And for some time, I can't remember now anymore the time scale, but for some months, he got involved with me as a teacher. And then I remember one day he was driving me to the airport, and he told me that he wasn't at all interested in this sparana, completely not interested in me as a teacher, not interested in the community where he was living in Ukraine. But what he was interested in was to find a wife, get a job, and have a dog, and live happily ever after. So I was completely shocked. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't even speak really to him. I was in so much shock, because he was somebody who had recently had these wonderful, deep connections to his true essence. So I couldn't believe what was coming out of his mouth. But of course, the problem with this script is that you completely memorize it, right? It's a habit. It becomes a deeply ingrained habit, you see. And of course, the idea of living with your little old wife and your dog, the job, you know, driving to your, I mean, this is everybody, almost everybody's idea of their life. It's almost like 95% of humanity got that one script, very popular script. And he was completely in this script. So it wasn't so long that he was looking around for his little wife. And in our community, he found two very nice blonde ladies. And he wasn't for some time sure which of these two blonde ladies. But finally, you know, one was more available than the other. So he grabbed her, and even though she said she was never going to leave John David and she was never going to leave the community, woof, they eloped together and lived together and loved together for 2 years. And then I don't know exactly what happened in the end, but basically there was a breaking down. And actually, he was very generous at the end, because when I heard about this situation, I wrote to him very outrageously. This is the kind of thing that I often do. I wrote an outrageous letter to him, suggesting that he ought to give this woman, his kind of wife, he should give her 1,000 euros so that she could come to my retreat in Spain and potentially maybe would like to join our community again. Everybody still liked this woman. So that's what happened. He very generously gave 1,000 euros. She spent it on the retreat. She came to the retreat, and out of that, she decided to come back to the community. And here she is somewhere. I won't tell you exactly where she is, but she's on the screen tonight. You see. And what about him? What happened to him? Well, he's depressed. He's depressed because suddenly his script has no meaning anymore. He's probably looking for another little wife. He's maybe already got a dog. I don't know about that, but he's probably looking for another wife. And as he's one of these IT guys, he's probably all kind of dating sites, you know, and talking to all kind of different potential wives. But I know he's not a happy bunny, you see, not a happy bunny. But I think this is great, because out of this situation, potentially he may remember that moment of sparana and remember how deeply touched he was by that. And he may decide to pick up where he left off and come back in a deep connection. I'm still tricking him because he's in the Zoom meeting tonight because I asked him to translate for the Russian guys, or sorry, not Russian guys, Ukrainian, Russian speaking guys. I have to be careful now when I say Russian, of course. By the way, if there's any very rich people on the screen tonight, yesterday I got a very sweet letter from one of my ex-students from Ukraine. He is an older man, and when he first came to me, he told me that when he's 50, he's going to leave his wife and family and his business, and he's going to become a monk. So this was very touching. He really believed it. And then I said, well, how old are you? Oh, I'm 55. I said, aha, so you missed the time, you missed the date, you see. But anyway, for maybe 1 or 2 years, he was involved with me. And then we had a bit of a falling out on something. But anyway, yesterday he wrote me a very lovely letter saying that now he's in the army and he's on the frontier with Belarus. And maybe I could help him a bit because they need some support, you know. And today I asked him, okay, so tell me what you need. And he told me today they need 30 straps to stop the flow of blood. There's a special name, I don't remember. But anyway, they need 30 straps to stop the flow of blood if they get a leg injury or an arm injury. And then he asked if we could contribute a drone, you know, one of these little helicopter things, because at night they like to run it along the border and see what's happening, you know, with the Russian soldiers. So as I say, if anybody feels to donate to that project, but certainly I'm personally going to donate, and the community will also donate something. So this was very, very touching because I could never really imagine him on the front line, you know, in a trench with his gun, because he was a very sweet man. He was a very innocent man, I could say. So I was very touched to get this letter. I don't know why I'm telling you that, actually. Anyway, so I'm a little off the point. One other thing I wanted to add tonight. So last week on Tuesday, I made a special meeting about pain. And I was saying that pain can be very useful because if you come into pain, it means that there is some kind of old structure or old tendency inside you has been touched, you know, and because it's been touched, you know that it's something that you have to look into. For example, I got a mail from Hanuman the other day to say that they'd had a meeting in Tripelia, and he got so incredibly angry and frustrated that he threw the glass on the floor with such a violence that the people he was talking to packed their bags and left. They would rather go and meet the Russians than stay with Hanuman. Okay, so pain. So pain is somehow part of getting rid of this script. Because if you experience emotional pain, which may also manifest as physical pain, it's very likely that there is some deep, old, energetic phenomena that is still working inside you, still affecting your energetic functioning, and also it can easily affect your physical functioning. For example, I notice now Raj is sitting at the bottom of the screen, and I only have to say hello to Raj. It's enough that he completely freezes, goes into shock and horror if I pass by and say hello. You see, just John David's voice is somehow enough to touch some old, I would say, wound inside him, and he can't even function. He like freezes. And of course, that brings up a lot of pain. So he often feels a lot of pain. Not only me that creates that effect, but other people also create that effect. And also situations cause that effect on him, because something must have happened in the past, which is still being held in his body and in his energy system, and he can't release it. And actually, I'm not sure he even wants to release it. And so he experiences a lot of pain and suffering in his life, but somehow this seems to be not enough to spur him on to really want to investigate whatever is the cause of that. And it's not just Raj. I'm looking at all the photographs in front of me. There are many people who sincerely lived in our community for many years, but for some reason, they listen to all my talks, but they don't really respond. They don't really go into it deeply enough that it has some change. So you can easily be caught up in a spiritual community just as much as you can be caught up in the regular world out there. It's the same. You can easily be so busy doing what you think you have to do that you function very much like you would be functioning outside. We've got a lady sitting with a man on one of the screens called Kashi, who recently changed her hair to blonde and starts to really transform after doing that. It's a kind of funny little gesture, but it's having a profound effect on her. And she's a very hardworking lady. And as she comes from Holland, she's very much in, doing the right thing, being a good girl, working hard, these kind of things, So now I have a little bit of a campaign going to try to encourage her to go and have a swim sometimes, or go for a walk down to the Mediterranean, because she works like one of the best slaves you could ever imagine, from the morning until the night. You see, hard worker, Dutch hard worker. You see, with the fear of not being a good girl that drives her on. Now, okay, so we've got still now some time. So I think I provoked you a bit tonight. Actually, maybe I should just add one other thing. So I have another text in front of me here, and Bhagwan was asked, how do I attain a self-realized state for myself? And Bhagwan's answer was, be still. That is the practice, be still. And I remember Papaji, my direct teacher, when he was asked, what is your teaching? He would say, be quiet, be quiet. So be quiet and be still is suggesting that you try to break your script, you see, because the script is a mental kind of script. And if you stop talking, if you stop relating, if you stop coming into other people's business, if you stay with yourself quietly, and if you allow yourself to become quiet and still, then you have a very good chance that you're inviting this sparana to happen, you see, because it only can happen when the mind has become still. If there's lots of thoughts, doesn't work. You won't experience sparana if there's lots of thoughts. It has to be that your whole box of tricks becomes quiet. So the most simple spiritual practice that you could imagine is not to talk, which for most people is very, very difficult. Just try it tomorrow for, say, 1 hour. Try 1 hour tomorrow not talking. You'll find it's extremely difficult, because we're all taught to be in our script. So somebody says hello, and then you say hello, and then they say, are you having a nice day? And then you say, yes, thank you very much. And what about you? And then a dialogue starts, you see. So we're all programmed to easily get caught up in our script, easily get into our script, you see, very easy. And one of the strongest ways against that is simply not to talk. Because if you don't talk very much, people can't be in a dialogue with you. You stay with yourself and you become deeper and deeper until you be still. So stopping talking leads in the end to being still, having a still mind, a quiet mind, an unactive mind, you see. So this is the way, this is a very clear way that Ramana is telling is the essence of the spiritual work. And he, in fact, as a teacher, he was famous because he used to sit on a couch in a room from the beginning to the end of every day. He would sleep also often sitting on this couch. He didn't really sleep in the way that we would think of sleeping. He would just be kind of immobile during the night. And he would be available 24 hours a day for anybody to come and talk with him. And the essence of what he was constantly teaching was to be quiet. So in his daily meetings, there could be long periods where nothing much was spoken, when there was a profound silence in the room. And many people have reported when they came to see him that just when they first came into the room and bowed down to him and then looked at him, many people had immediately a profound flash of scintillation, of pulsation. They got an immediate glimpse because he himself was so amazingly quiet that one look in his eye would be enough to put you also into this quiet. So many people report that coming to visit him, they had some kind of profound moment without really talking. Maybe they came with the idea to ask questions, but they didn't, in the end, they didn't maybe ask their questions because the energy was so profound, they lost the interest to ask the question. So this was making, of course, Ramana Maharshi into a great saint, because so many people wrote about their beautiful experiences with him. But just a glance or sitting in his presence could be enough by itself, without any teaching as such, to trigger this sparana. So yeah, so that's probably enough for tonight. Not enough for tonight, but enough talking from me. And I'd like to invite you to share some experience you've had yourself, or ask a question, or as you like. So if you want, you just wave and we open your microphone. Okay, so Barbara, who we call Pavati, she'd like to say something.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to share that my mind is most of the time very quiet.
Can we put her on the screen? Owen, can we get a side by side maybe? Pavati, not Shakti. Okay, now she's there. Okay.
Yeah. And but still, you and Indira mostly can very easy put me into my structure. And then it's mostly 1 or 2 hours. I'm in it. And my mind is then busy, what is right and what is wrong and this. And then it disappears and then I'm quiet again. But this still happened very easily with you and also with Indira, I can say.
Right. Well, I mean, if you don't understand what's happening, then you could kind of blame the teacher. The teacher is coming along and he's making a lot of emotional pain inside me. He's putting me back into things that I don't really like. And you make that kind of judgment. But this is completely false judgment, because if you have a heart connection with that teacher, with that person, in this case, you're talking about John David, he can't say anything to you that is against you, because if there's a basic heart connection and he's telling you something that then creates some old structures being activated and then some emotional pain, if that happens to you, you have to see this as a gift, not as a society-style judgment against you. Because with a teacher, it's completely different. Completely different. I mean, I've been living with 18 people now for, well, about 18 years, I think. And of course, there are many times I can feel some frustration. I can feel occasionally anger. But actually, the reality inside John David is that there's really only love there. There's only love. And for sure, I'm often saying things to people which I know provokes them in some way. In the same way you're saying that I can provoke you with something. Mm-hmm. And then instead of just being not provoked and being with yourself, I probably see something which, by saying something or doing something, is enough of a catalyst to put you into pain and into whatever that structure is, you see. So this is a kind of gift, because it gives you a chance not to go there, not to get into that old stuff. I remember once in a meeting, somebody, it was quite a big meeting, and somebody near the back of the room screamed out, "Fat sack, you're a fat sack," right? Which is true. Today I'm also a fat sack, but in those days, a few years ago, I was definitely a fat sack. And I could laugh because I didn't take it any kind of personal, I didn't take it as a personally rude statement or something. It was true what he said. I don't think he meant it quite like that, but for me, it was like that, because it couldn't touch me, you see. So if you want to live in a true freedom, that if somebody calls you a fat sack, you don't have to respond, you see. And if there is a response, then it means there is some kind of personal there. There has to be some personal there. And while there is some personal there, you can never really call yourself free, because, if somebody puts their finger on something inside you, where you're not really free of, then for sure you're going in a reaction, you're going to feel pain, and you're in the personal, and then it's not going to work. Not going to work. No. And you're pretty easy to do that with, because you're pretty what's the word? You're not really defended. You're very available to be touched in some way.
Yeah, because there is for sure this heart connection and the trust in both of you. And what I also can feel is when I'm next to you, or also Indira, which is more like into this silence, or everything is on the right place and there's nothing to want. And this has also happened in your presence, and also in Indira's presence, I can say. It just happened. I don't do anything and I don't think about this. No?
And also, I don't do anything either, you know.
Mm.
Because once the personal drops, there's nobody to do anything anymore. You see, this is amazing. Things happening all the time. You know? All the time things happen. But actually, there's no doing here anymore. Most of the time, not completely, but most of the time, there's no personal here anymore.
And what you said about this profound feeling when you have a glimpse or something, as in my case, I would say it's a profound ordinary feeling. This is what I always experience when we do the original phase, or it is just this very ordinary, simple feeling.
All right.
Also not thousand suns exploding.
Right.
In my case.
Well, I mean, it's a difficult one to talk about because you can't really talk about it in a way that somebody else can really understand what happened to you, you know. But in one way, it's ordinary, and because it's your natural state, you know. So then it's got to be ordinary. I mean, it's a given. What we're talking about is a given for every human. But in another way, it's extraordinary because when this space opens up, scintillation is the word in the manuscript I've been working on. They use the word scintillation, and that's because there is, for many people, there is a profound energetic phenomena, and you've experienced in our community many times people laughing like crazy, and then maybe crying like crazy, and their arms and their legs, everything kind of moving around. And I'm not saying it has to be like that, but it often is quite dramatic when people experience that. And clearly you're somebody who has a deep understanding, but maybe you haven't experienced this purana, perhaps.
Mm.
I don't know, actually. I can't judge it for other people, but there might be a feeling that you haven't experienced this spirana or this scintillation, because when it happens, especially the first time, it's not really ordinary.
Mm.
Not really
I also
ordinary.
think so.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
Okay. Well, you never know. It'll happen when you're not waiting.
Not waiting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Somebody else? So tonight in the top corner, Radha is, she calls herself Radha, yeah, she calls herself Radha. So Radha has had many such scintillations. I think she's our champion scintillator. And just below her, we have a Russian, sorry, I shouldn't say Russian, a Ukrainian gentleman with white hair and a purple shirt. We call him VJ, and he's another one who's had many, many scintillations, many profound scintillations. So I think in our community, it's fairly often happening. So I could invite somebody, but I prefer if you like to invite yourself, actually. Okay, good. I was just thinking Gabby should talk to us, so there she is. So Gabby is, at the moment, is in our house here as a volunteer for a week. And last night we had a little sharing meeting, and she shared a bit about something that happened to her. And maybe she'd like to share a bit more about that.
Yeah, first I just, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
No, yeah, okay.
Yes,
First I just want to say thank you. It's so joyful for me to stay here. I'm very, very happy and thankful, because that's what I want to do. I want to be here. So
Right.
because here it's for me very easy, no, not very, but easier for me to be as I am.
Right.
So
Right.
to throw the the script away. So and see everybody here and think, oh, okay, this touched me, and but I can see what it means to me if it touches me. It's very helpful to see all the people here and live in a community, or to stay at the community. At home, I'm often alone. I have my friends, but I live only with my daughter, and we both have our own life. Sure, for sure.
Right. Right.
So it's great to do the whole day the work with all these people here. So we laugh and make jokes, and yeah, I have no words for it.
Right. Right. Well, I think, when you're touched like that, I can recommend you come back when you have time. Where do you live? Anywhere near where we are?
Aachen, yeah,
Aachen. Oh, Aachen's not so far. We often come to Aachen selling honey, actually.
yeah,
Anyway, and there's a honey shop in Aachen where we buy, I don't know, we buy some stuff there. But anyway, I mean, it's not that far away. So when you have time, or just spontaneously, you can come for a day or a few days
yeah,
and recharge yourself from the energy here.
yeah,
I have a group of students who we meet together every 3 months for a weekend. So 4 times a year we meet together, about 15 people. And this group has now been running for, I think, 18 years, ever since I came to Germany. The same group goes on every 3 months. Amazing,
yeah,
really. Different people, of course, but it's kept going on its own energy for 18 years, I think, this group. So these are people who have an interest and who like to spend some time with me, but at the same time, they don't want to live in the community. So probably right now, you're not about to live in the community, but you can get a connection, and there may naturally come the feeling that I have to live in the community.
yeah,
And this feeling of have to, it comes by itself, really.
yeah,
It's not really a decision. You don't have to make a decision. You just allow something to happen inside you, and in
yeah.
the end, people say, okay, then that's I have to do it. It's a big change in one way, but in another way, if you allow it to come naturally over some time, it's not such a big decision, really.
No, it's no decision, because I had we'll call it a glimpse opening or something like that, and since that it's gets clearer and clearer that I want to live this way.
Right,
Not as not with the theater role, but with my essence.
right, right.
That would be great. So
Yeah, because this is the most beautiful way to live your life. And when you really understand about this script, and this is so sad, really, so
yeah,
sad. I was telling you the story about this man we call Shiva. You see, he was very loved in the community, and in particular, 2 nice blonde ladies both particularly loved him, and he had a big potential. But then he remembered his script, probably given by one of his relatives when he was a little boy, And out came this script that he now believed was what he would make him happy, you see. But it didn't make him happy, actually, and he's not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Somebody else? Maybe who's translating? Oh, Shiva, you're translating the Ukrainian, yeah? I'm not quite sure, but I think there's one guy tonight who has the idea to come and live in Tripelia. Can you invite him to talk to me? I'm not quite sure who he is because I can't read Russian script.
И я хотел бы с ним сейчас поговорить. Я не знаю, кто это. Может, кто-то подать какой-то знак, кто это парень, который хотел жить
It's
в
the man
Японии.
with the purple light.
По-моему, мужчина с розовым светом.
Okay. What's your name?
А как тебя
Евгений,
зовут?
Женя.
Eugenie?
Женя. Евгений.
Yeah, like Eugene, Евгений.
Юджин, да, Юджин.
Eugenie. Okay, good. Good. And are you in your basement now? It looks behind you as if you might be sitting in the basement.
Ты в подвале сейчас где-то?
А это свет просто такой, лампочка. Фитолампа.
No, it's just a light in my apartment.
Okay, okay. When I look at the bricks behind you, I thought that, you know, the bombs are falling and you're sitting in a basement somewhere.
Я подумал, что там бомбы падают, и сидишь в подвале. Такая стена
Нет,
там сзади.
для растений лампочка просто.
It's for the flowers. It's a special light for flowers.
Ah, very good. Good. Okay. So where you're living, there aren't so many bombs.
Там, где ты живешь, там сейчас не опасно, да?
Не, там нормально.
It's safe. It's safe there.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's just the most sad and kind of pornographic thing that could happen to Ukraine, I would say.
Это очень грустно и ужасно, что случилось в Украине.
But actually, the Ukrainian army has done amazingly well so far.
Но украинская армия очень вообще великолепно себя повела.
Anyway, you're probably not so interested in all that.
Но тебе, наверное, не так интересно это все.
Yeah. And can I ask you what is your interest to come to live in the community in Tripelia?
Я хотел бы узнать, в чем твой интерес приехать и жить с нами в коммуне в Триполи?
Хочу научиться жить по-настоящему, по полной.
I want to learn to live full and truly.
Okay. And you've met Hanuman, I guess, have you?
Ты встречался с Хануманом раньше?
Не.
No?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, from my point of view, you're welcome to come. And what I would suggest is you come and spend some days. You can come in the next days and stay until Sunday and meet the people there. And then you can naturally decide if that's really the place you want to spend more time.
Я хотел бы тебе предложить такой вариант, что ты абсолютно рада тебе. Ты можешь приехать там, побыть какое-то время, например, там до воскресенья, пообщаться с ребятами, посмотреть, и потом естественным образом для себя что-то решить.
So you're welcome, but if you haven't met Hanuman and Bhakti, then probably they're the managers there. So it would be good to come and spend some days, get to meet them, and then naturally together you can decide if it's a good place for you.
Да, ты как бы рада тебе, но типа я бы рекомендовал тебе приехать там пообщаться с Хануманом, с Бхакти, они менеджеры там, узнать друг друга, и потом естественным образом уже как бы почувствуете, примете какое-то решение вместе. Если тебе это то, что тебе подходит или нет.
Хорошо.
Okay,
Great.
welcome, welcome.
Добро
Okay,
пожаловать.
Благодарю.
good, good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Спасибо.
And I don't know, Shiva, there's some other Russian looking names that I don't really know. I see Sergey. Is Sergey wearing a blue with white stripes? Is that Sergey? You're living already in Tripelia.
Сергей, ты уже в Триполи, по-моему, в синей рубашке с белыми полосками.
Yeah. Maybe I like to ask you a question. Can you put on his...
Так, я звук
Я хотел
включил.
бы-
Ну, слышно меня, да?
Да, я хотел бы задать тебе вопрос.
So you've been living in Tripelia now for maybe 3 months, something like 3 months?
Ты уже около 3 месяцев, да, в Триполи, по-моему?
Да.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the thing that you particularly like about it?
И что тебе нравится там?
Да, много чего. Да,
Какая-то,
все
может,
нравится.
особенная вещь?
А особенно, 3 раза в день медитировать, потому что если бы я был бы сам по себе, я бы 3 раза в день не медитировал бы. Я себя прекрасно знаю. Вот этот график мне очень подходит, потому что я такой, что у меня вот много желаний. Если бы вот я один был бы, 3 раза в день я бы не медитировал. Вот. То есть первое это вот этот график, и я вижу результат, то есть это дает, я чувствую вот после медитации, я чувствую вот.
Okay, let Shiva translate because it will get a bit difficult. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, many things are nice, but in particular I like the schedule and 3 times per day meditation, because if I would be on my own, it would be hard for me to keep this schedule and to meditate 3 times per day. And I like it very much, and I see the effect which it makes on me, this daily meditation.
Right. What do you think is the effect, the strongest effect?
И в чем ты думаешь самый сильный эффект, какой эффект этих медитаций?
Я чувствую прилив сил, вот, и бывает вот, как энергия, вибрация, я не знаю, как вот просто попадаешь в благость, вот, в состояние благости.
I feel more energy, and often I can feel some other kind of energy or vibration, and I feel myself kind of blessed or good.
Good, yeah, right. Yeah, you're lucky to have Hanuman because he's the master of meditation.
Тебе повезло, что там есть Хануман, он мастер медитации.
Okay, good. Nice to meet you. Anyway, nice to meet you. Welcome, sir.
Да, очень приятно познакомиться. Рад тебе.
Да, мне тоже.
I'm also glad.
We have some other Russians, Karanian. I see somebody whose name I can't pronounce, but he has a black beard with headphones. Would you like to say hello?
Я вот еще вижу тоже одного парня с Украины, он с бородой и в наушниках. Ты хотел бы пообщаться, передать привет?
А как меня слышно?
Мы слышим все хорошо.
Рад всех приветствовать.
I'm glad to see everybody and you.
Okay, what's your name?
Меня зовут Радомир.
Радомир.
Да, сокращенно Роман.
Roman.
Roman. Okay, Roman is possible. I can get it. I can pronounce that.
Да, я случайно попал в Триполи благодаря моему другу. И был впечатлен той обстановкой, которую там вы организовали. и с помощью там Татьяны, Ханумана. Очень там такая благостная энергия и прям как место силы. И прям, ну, мы в это воскресенье снова приедем к вам в гости уже с друзьями. То есть, ну,
Yeah,
очень
yeah, by accident, I found this place, Tripilia, through my common friend, and I was impressed with the energy. Yeah, and I like it a lot, and I will come this Sunday again with friends.
Oh, good. Yeah. So you've been before there. You met Bhakti and Hanuman.
То есть ты был уже, да, в Триполи? Ты встречался с
Да.
Бхакти Хануманом?
Конечно, да. Хануман замечательный человек. Я ему привет передаю. С прекрасной светлой энергией.
Yes, I met Hanuman before. He's a great guy with a nice, bright energy.
Right, right. He specializes in throwing glasses on the floor. If you don't meditate, he gets really angry.
Он специализируется в том, чтобы разбивать стаканы о пол. Если вы не будете медитировать, он очень злится.
Мы с ним часто медитировали, также играли по вечерам на музыкальных инструментах. Мы так музыкой занимаемся на любительском уровне. Ну, по вечерам часто собирались в Сатсанге, в помещении, там очень тоже такая энергетика приятная, и было здорово.
Yeah, we've been meditating with Hanuman together and also played music, often in evening.
Good, yeah.
We were sitting in big Satsang room and playing music. It's very nice energy also there as well.
Okay, and on the walls we have paintings from Hanuman. Those paintings are from Hanuman. Very nice paintings.
И там в зале картины на стенах, это картина Ханумана, очень классно.
And some of them from Bhakti, and they're both very good painters.
И некоторые Бхакти тоже, они хорошие художники вообще.
Да, красивые картины, да.
Yes, beautiful paintings.
Yeah. Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, John David.
Okay. Okay, let's see who else. We have a little more time. Anybody like to say hello?
Кто-то хотел бы поздороваться, у нас есть еще
Maybe
немножко
I'll say hello
времени.
to Bhakti.
Может,
You'd like to
скажем
speak to me,
привет,
Bhakti?
Бхакти? Хочешь поговорить? Тебе микрофон включи.
О, слышно?
Have
Да.
you
Только
got a
тебя не
microphone?
видно. Включите камеру.
О,
Включи камеру.
боже, сейчас, да.
Okay.
Я тут. Привет.
Hello.
Here now. Hi.
О, hello.
How is
Очень рада
Bhakti?
всех видеть.
Как Бхакти?
Ой, сегодня Бхакти лучше.
Today Bhakti is better.
Yeah.
Yes. У Бхакти были непростые времена.
She had a tough times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Непростые времена и очень сложные отношения. Мое личное, наверное, что-то вот с коммуной, очень много сопротивления. И сегодня я почувствовала облегчение какое-то. Я не знаю, что такое, но...
I had a difficult relationships with community, and yeah, it was a bit tough. But today I felt better.
Right. Right.
Something
Well, you
personal.
had your family and Madhu's family there.
Ну, ты там со своей семьей, и Маду тоже семья.
Ну, Мада уехала.
Маду, she left.
Yeah, yeah.
Да. Интересно, я увидела отличия вот людей, которые все-таки вот понимают, что такое адвайта, и реакция вот на разбитый стакан Ханумана. Ну, то есть вот у Маду и у ее сына.
It was interesting for me to see the reaction from different people. For example, with this situation with the broken glass, it was interesting to see the reaction of Madhu and her son, the people who are familiar with Advaita and not.
Right. Right.
Я
Yeah, I
как-то
mean,
это так...
generally in the society, people never really look inside. Yeah, they never look at their script. You know,
Yes.
but they're completely identified with their script. And so when Hanuman would say, you know, you have to look inside, you have to see, this just makes people angry because they think you're criticizing them, you know, judging them. But if you're involved with Advaita, then of course you like to look inside.
Да, очень часто, ну, в обществе людям не знакома такая вещь, как смотреть вовнутрь, и у них может быть как бы разные реакции, если, там, например, Хануман скажет, там, посмотри вовнутрь. Многим людям это может даже не понравиться или вызвать какую-то реакцию такую.
Да. И что, наверное, я, наверное, вот начала немножечко изучать сейчас гармонику, и у меня сразу появилось хорошее настроение.
And I recently started to learn to play harmonium, and out of this I have a very good mood often.
Good.
Да, и
Yeah,
сегодня я увидела сирень красивую и думаю, пора начинать рисовать.
And today I saw very beautiful flowers blooming, and I thought that I should start do paintings again.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you that in Spain, in the house in Spain, you know, where you came last year with the swimming pool, we've just created 2 new rooms.
В этом доме в Испании, где ты была прошлым летом, мы сделали там 2 новых комнаты.
And when you were there, you painted 3 paintings, and we're going to put your paintings in these 2 new rooms.
И ты когда была там, ты нарисовала 3 картины, и мы их повесим в этих новых комнатах.
One was 2 red flowers. Maybe you remember 2 red flowers.
Одна была с 2 красными цветками, может, ты помнишь?
Yeah, yes.
Probably you and Hanuman.
Наверное, это ты и Хануман.
And then the other 2 paintings were of the sea and the town and the seaside.
И другие там был море и город.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ну, в общем, как-то сейчас у Бхакти получше дела.
Yeah, so now Bhakti is feeling better.
Yeah. And I mean, if you've got anybody who can do kind of handyman jobs, I suggest that we can spend some money to make your painting studio ready.
Если ты найдешь кого-нибудь, кто, ну, мог бы заняться handyman, типа мастера какого-то, мы могли бы вложить какие-то деньги, чтобы сделать студию, там, чтобы порисовать было удобно.
Ну, я думаю, мы сможем своими руками сделать. Сейчас немножечко мы много сделали за вот месяц, когда вот ребята были здесь. Мы сделали большую работу. Вот. Но я думаю, сейчас мы чуть-чуть, вот у нас день, 2, 3 передохнем. У нас тут много работы по двору, там заметать. И потом мы хотим сделать мастерскую.
I think we can do it even with our own hands. So we did a lot already in last months. We have many people now here, and I think we will have some break for a couple of days, and then we can make something
it
for
sounds
studio
like you've
with
got a couple of other men going to come and join soon. These 2 men I was talking to, they can come and visit. And
пару ребят хотят приехать.
I mean, you can, we've already arranged where you're going to have the studio, so maybe they can, you know, do what's necessary.
Ну, мы уже решили, где будет студия вроде с тобой, и,
Да.
возможно, они там смогут помочь там, сделать все необходимое.
Да, у нас
And-
там кошка рожала просто. Сейчас 4 котенка живет.
Now we have the cat gave a birth, 3 puppy cats now.
Она выбрала именно то место, и мы ничего не могли поделать.
Baby cat. She
Okay, you
chose
bet.
that place, and we couldn't do anything.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, the other idea would be that, you know, you don't need all the rooms at the moment. So that new room that we made, you know, just before the war started, this new room, as you come into, you could take out the beds and use that for your studio if you like. It has a good light, been painted white. In the winter, it'll be warm. You could also use that as your studio.
Если хочешь, что новая комната, которую мы как раз сделали перед войной, ну, типа сейчас немного людей, если хочешь, можете убрать оттуда кровати и использовать эту комнату как студия. Она белая, и там зимой будет тепло, если хочешь.
О, это очень хорошая идея.
Yeah, this is a great idea.
So take the beds out tomorrow and put those in the dormitory. Put the beds in the dormitory, and you have a nice studio immediately.
Заберите оттуда завтра кровати, отнесите их в dormitory, и у тебя сразу будет студия уже.
Do you remember a guy called Sadhu? I gave him the name Sadhu, an older man who is having a business for animal supplies, you know, animal food and this kind of thing. Do you remember him? Sadhu. I think Hanuman remembers him.
Я думаю, может, Хануман, вы помните такого мужчину, Саду, он такой был более взрослый, он вроде занимался вот этими для животных товарами.
He's the guy that's now in the war on the Belarusian frontier.
Это вот этот вот парень, который написал мне письмо, который сейчас в армии там на границе с Беларусью.
I think Hanuman will remember him.
Я думаю, что Хануман, наверное, помнит его.
Да, помню его, да.
Yes, we remember him.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Рада всех видеть.
I'm glad to see everybody.
Yeah. So next week on Thursday.
Следующую неделю четверг.
So today's Tuesday, and then next week the meeting will be on Thursday evening. So every week a different, either Tuesday or Thursday, alternating.
Каждую неделю будет встреча или во вторник, или в четверг.
Now I've got the book almost finished, then I can have more time now again. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. So perhaps see you again next week. Ciao.